Hey, greetings YouTube, performance reviews where I give the review from the technician's point of view.
Before we get started, I'm having to re-upload this video. Unfortunately, there are some copyright trolls out there that falsely claimed ownership of the music in this video, even though it was copyright free. So here is the re-uploaded version, and I also am including a screenshot of the comments just so that we save those. Anyways, folks, thanks for watching. Enjoy the video.
And today I have a Shark rotator. Oh, it's a powered lift away. Does this one say professional on it? Oh, yeah, it does say professional on it. And for those who don't know, any of these marketing terms on front of a machine
Are nonsense.
So this machine was dropped off to us by a customer. Just wasn't working, and they decided to buy a different vacuum, but I thought I would see what's going on with this. I'm curious what it needs, what it doesn't need. So first of all, this machine is a 2020. You can tell that by date using the date code on the actual plug itself. Let's see what it does when I turn it on. I guess I should edit in a headphone warning. That thing is particularly loud and screechy. So let's start taking a look, seeing what we got. Well, the first thing we can notice right here, and this happens to just about all of them, is you'll notice that the single cyclone has been blocked. Got like a hair tie and stuff right here. This is a really ineffective cyclone assembly. It really doesn't dump a whole lot of stuff in front. If they were to reverse this 180 degrees, it would work far better. So let's clean this out and start there. And of course, the best thing to clean out other vacuums is a central vacuum. These filters will still need to be rinsed out, but this will at least help us diagnose the rest of the machine, which wasn't picking up from the cleaner head. So let's see right now where we're at. It's sounding like crap still. It sounds a little bit better. That motor is a little less stressed. So let's go ahead and hit the lift away button. And we're going to wand release this. And now we're going to separate the two units. Now the first thing I do want to point out before I do that, this should be white on both sides. You see this is kind of dark and nasty. This needs to be replaced as well. And the problem is if you don't replace this on time, this plastic housing is so cheap that it will start to warp and leak around the filter. So that is a huge problem with Sharks in general. The other thing is that these wands and stuff are always just like really bulky. I can't think of another vacuum cleaner when I'm working on it that's like this awkward to work on. Let's talk about the cleaner head. Because a lot of people, well, they experience problems with the cleaner head. And the actual answer to problems with your cleaner head is you should replace it as a whole assembly. You can get these from Shark for most of their models, and I would recommend that. So this one, however, we're going to open up and see what's inside. Maybe. These do not appear to be in the right area. Yep. Yeah, so those plastic things get stripped out. So right away, pulling this apart, you notice the brush roller doesn't just lift out like every other vacuum. We're actually going to have to take this whole thing apart to get to this roller, so you're going to have to hang in there with us. And we can see that the belt has gone missing on one side. Presumably probably sucked up into the cleaner. We're going to have to solve the mystery of the missing belt here. So we got this empty screw tray here. We're just going to start taking out screws. Well, 13 screws later, if you ever wondered why we call Shark the vacuum devil, let's pull this cover off, and no belt inside. But we can see where it's been just killing itself slowly. So I believe we can get this one fixed if I just get a belt. I can see, oh, the vacuum devil was hard at work with this one. There is a screw right there. Oh, that's glorious. Haha, the hidden screw. So 14 screws to get this thing apart. You can hear all the clink clink. So that comes apart, and now we can get to the belt, maybe. So this is even worse than some of their other designs. You have a little wedge point, so you actually can pull the brush roller end cap, which has been sandwiched in here. Not really user serviceable. Alright, now I can pull the brush roller out, and you can see all the hair has gotten in here, and we can see the bearings are undersized for the size roller. That's nothing special. Now the couple other things why we're in here before we get cleaning the rest of this up. A lot of people are going to ask, they want to replace just this hose here. This hose is not available by itself. It is a strange size proprietary to Shark, and you have to replace the whole cleaner head assembly. So if you're watching this video just to replace this hose, I'm sorry, you need to get yourself a new cleaner head. So let's continue on the rest of this horrific nightmare from Shark. I guess the other thing that you can replace by itself, because it's not made by Shark, is there's a micro switch. Occasionally these go bad. I don't see this as often as I used to. So I think they've gone to a slightly higher quality micro switch. But yeah, that's what the machine needs, is a belt. Now, a lot of people ask me how we get these things clean, what soap's best to use. Phosphated dishwasher detergent, put it in a dishwasher with an inline heater like a Bosch or a Miele or a Simmons. And then you don't even have to run on a full cycle. We're going to run it on the delicate wash and just hit start here. Hey folks, my apologies. I had to bring the microphone home for something else, so I don't have my normal microphone. So you're just going to hear the microphone on the GoPro. So my apologies if the audio sounds bad on this. But I've moved it down so you have a little bit better view of what's going on here. So when we left off, I told you this machine needed a belt. As you know, Shark does not make belts available. However, I'll put a link in the description to this belt, which I found on Amazon. So I guess Amazon was feeling a little bit in a giving spirit for us here, so we are going to get to be able to repair this. It looks like that goes like that. You want to see how the wires go, and there's a nice red mark on that motor. Start putting this together. Now, one thing I noticed about this motor when I was cleaning it out is that the motor pulley seems to be coming unpressed from the sprocket, but it's not going to touch any of the plastic, so I'm not going to do anything to reseat it. But I suspect what happens over time is, as this wears, that motor pulley will just go out on the side and burn through the side. And I've seen that on other Sharks, but it's interesting to see it before it happens. So it's like a manufacturer's defect that causes that. And no surprise that the Vacuum Devil's Hellspawn would have a manufacturer's defect. So this brush roller is quite interesting. We're going to put this in. The thing to do with the brush roller is to put it in like this. Put your end cap on the one side. And you want to clean the hair out as much as possible on something like this. And then once it's on the other side, you just kind of want to cantilever it out like that. And put the belt on, like so. And now we're going to put the end cap on. And that will hold basically all the tension. Yeah, she is pretty loosey-goosey. She might skip. Let's see. No, there's barely enough that it's not going to skip. However, I think this belt should have one less tooth. We are going to give it a little bit of soap. This helps quiet the machine down. We're going to put our negative lead on here. which was longer, so we know it goes on the bottom. And we're just going to put the whole tray back in and then attach the positive blade like so. Then once everything's on here, I really want to put all the wires back where they belong. All right, let's get a drill bit and start screwing everything back. I really suggest you do this by hand if you're not experienced, because you need a drill with a good mechanical clutch in order to make this work, because it's real easy to strip out the screws on this machine. Yeah, we had to set that clutch a little lower. It's just amazing how cheap they make these. Now the other thing I want to mention while we're on the subject of cheapness, if this hose breaks, they do make replacement hoses on Amazon, but this part is not meant to be changed. So you're going to have a time and a half if you try to change this hose. You're better off just changing the whole nozzle. All right, as I'm putting this together, I'm noticing some of this housing assembly has warped a little bit. Again, it doesn't really surprise me with how everything interacts. Yeah, maybe that will give it a... It is what it is. It's a shark. There is nothing of value here. So as we put this together, I think the next thing to do is start to put these caps on the machine. And things will start to get kind of blatantly obvious where they go. With this one, you'll notice that there's going to be a smaller screw going in to this guy. And again, the fragile nature of this cheap plastic, you do want to kind of do some of this by hand. We'll put in this screw on this side a little bit later. It's time to reattach the LED wire, which just goes under here, sits on top of the board. The other thing that can go bad on these is this micro switch. And this circuit board usually will go bad before these motors, has been my experience. Again, none of that stuff's available by itself, so it's kind of a moot point. Now if you forget to put these in, it's no big deal. These don't really serve any function other than looks, but we're going to try and put this back together in a way it doesn't deserve. Alright. So, as you put this together, you're going to want to hold everything with your hand, flip it over, and now we're going to need to reattach the screws. So many of them. This kind of shows that really was not meant for you or anybody to service. Really just meant to be thrown away. And one of your shorter screws goes in where the hose is up here. Your other shorter screws go in there and there. So you're gonna notice there'll be a lot of shorties with this. And if you're ever unsure where the screws went, make yourself a diagram and put the screws back with that diagram. However, I've unfortunately done enough of these, I don't need the diagram. And the last two big ones go here. Alright. Then you got a little one that goes right there. Alright, now we've put most of the screws back. well, ball screws, I guess. We're going to put this cover back on. And as you put this cover back on, you have to pay attention to where these things are. These are going to have to all line up like so. And then they're going to just give like a little quarter turn to lock. Boom. That's been put back together. So that all feels good. We have a lot of marks around this, so I'm going to go ahead and clean that up a little bit at this point. Alright, now we've gone ahead and assembled the nozzle, and I've wiped it down. Let's talk about this part. So, we replaced the HEPA filter. These washed pretty clean. Let's go ahead and put them back. Next time these need to be washed, they probably should be replaced. They only take so many washings, so just be aware of that. Like, don't be afraid to change these filters out. And again, I'll put a link to this specific model on Amazon, but you can get these filters on Amazon on a deep discount. And if you have one of these, one, you should really start saving for a new vacuum, but what you can do is go grab a set of those filters and just have them around because you're going to need them. So let's start putting this thing back together how it should. The accessories are kind of funny. I don't know why the upholstery tool swivels at a non-substantial angle. It just fits on there. The other thing that's kind of weird is they copied the Dyson crevice dusting brush tool, and this tool is a horrible tool to copy. I don't know why they decided to copy this. It was bad on Dyson and it's not any better on Shark. This is bad design at its pinnacle. And of course, we have our bin assembly, which we've cleaned up and washed out, and it's a lot better now. And the thing about Sharks is you can't open the bin assembly from both sides, which makes it kind of easy for the consumer to wash out. And it is gonna need it because this cyclone is super ineffective and stuff just gets stuck on this intake shroud. So let's go ahead and put everything back. The wand is of a weird shape and kind of bonds everything together. We've got the bin, and the hose is where the switch is on this machine, so you definitely are going to need this. Alright, let's see how it works. Well, it sounds and acts like a Shark. I have to say that belt is looser than I'd like, and I really think that will give you a lot of problems once you're on any sort of deeper pile of carpet. And these machines were problematic on deep pile carpet because they had no height adjustment, but add a belt that's a little bit too loose, it's a recipe for disaster. So I'm not exactly sure I'd recommend the Amazon belt on this, but you got to work with what you can get. Now, if you take your Shark belt off and it's intact and it has the numbers on it, you might be able to find a closer belt on eBay or through some sort of other wholesaler like Granger or something. But again, Shark doesn't make belts. You really should just change the whole cleaner head when this happens. So I hope this video has been useful. Give this video a thumbs up if it helped you. I also have a link to vacuum cleaners I recommend as a technician, and we'll put a playlist at the end of this video. Hopefully that will help you find a replacement for your Shark rather than repairing it. Have yourself a wonderful day.